Hi, I'm Stephen Ham from Archery Supplies. Today we're going to look at the Hoyt Prevail. Now the Hoyt Prevail for a number of years was the top of the line target bow for Hoyt archery. The Prevail retailed in Australia for about $2,300 and it came in effectively 4 models. One was a longer one, I'm going to guess it's about 39, and one was slightly shorter, about 37 inches. It came with 2 types of cams, a faster cam and a slower cam. Now this is the SVX, this is the faster cam. Now the Hoyt Prevail was replaced by the Hoyt Invicta, which is this bow. Now the big difference between the Prevail and the Invicta is the limbs. So you'll see in this one here, the Prevail, it's a laminated limb. And back when Hoyt produced the Prevail, the Hoyt shooters would claim these limbs are the bee's knees, and it's what set Hoyt apart from the other manufacturers. But then in 2019, Hoyt released, or 2019 or 2020, Hoyt released the Invicta, which is the Gordon glass limbs, and these are very similar to what you see on the other bow manufacturers. They're more parallel, as you'll see, where the Prevails were more upright, so you felt more shock. Now this Invicta has got the DCX cams. These are the slower of the two, so these should be smoother. So in this review, the things I want to talk about is the Hoyt Invicta, what you'd expect, the Hoyt Prevail, what you'd expect to pay, how it varies from the Invicta, and basically what these two bows shoot like. So to start off with, the SVX cam, the earlier modules were not adjustable. Hoyt in the later modules made this cam adjustable, but I think it's only 1/2 inch either side. In the later modules, Hoyt gave you the modules, but it wasn't in the earlier models. So if you're getting one of the earlier Prevails, it's quite likely you're not going to get the modules with it. In the later models, and I think it was only 1 year, they did come with 2 modules to come with the bow. So you've got 1/2 inch either side of that size draw length, which was a problem for the shops to stock because one bow really only fitted one person. Where with the DCX cam, you've got a rotating module, so you had more variance in draw length. The SVX is also harder, so a beginner would be struggling more with the draw cycle. One of the things which is really good about the Prevail is this adjustable grip here. So 2 bolts on the side, just there, and it changes the grip from high to low and various settings in between. Really love the system, and that carries through to the later Hoyts that you see today. The Invicta has that. When you're looking to buy a second-hand bow, look at the quality of the strings, because otherwise the strings are going to set you back probably around $200 for a new set of strings, so bear that in mind when you're buying. The cable guard on the Prevail is pretty much the same as the current model Invictas. This is the same, so basically what's changed is the limbs. That's the big difference in the two bows. The weight's about the same. The axle size is almost identical, or is identical. The colors are pretty much identical. Now what can you expect to pay for this bow second hand, and you know what's reasonable? Now when you buy a bow second hand, it has no warranty, so if this bow was to blow up on your first shoot, there's no warranty. It's just the way life is. Saying that, Hoyt are extremely dependable. These limbs are so bulletproof, it is rare that you'll ever have a problem. The cams are really dependable, so it's very rare you're ever going to have a problem. The riser is really dependable, very rare you'll ever have a problem. So as long as you're not seeing any major dings or signs of misuse, the bow's probably going to be fine. However, with a new bow, you're going to get a lifetime warranty. So bear that in mind, lifetime warranty does not include strings. So if you blow up the strings on your first shoot, it's pretty much tough luck. This bow here looks like brand new. I can't see literally any signs that this bow has been used. Like there's no, that's the bottom cam, you can't see any sign of use here. Now what I'm going to say about the Hoyt cam system, the Hoyt modules in particular, which I really like, it's a dual track, so there's an edge to both sides of the module. Huge fan of that, because the string now sits actually on the module, not between the module and the cam. So a huge fan of the module system that Hoyt uses, and previously all the bow manufacturers use this system where the the string sits inside a groove in the module. Really like that system, and I wish PSC used that, but they don't. They used to, but they no longer do. So you can see here it sits in a groove. Love that system. I think it probably improves the strength of the module, but I really like it. So what can you expect to pay for one of these bows? Now when you're looking at this, you can compare it to the latest model, which is $2,400 or whatever it's going to be, and say, well, it's pretty much the same bow, how much can I expect to pay? Well, the other thing you look at is you say, what are other top of the line target bows I can get at a similar price? Now the PSC Super is going to be about $1,400. The Elite Result, which I really like, is about $1,800. So I kind of want to get this bow under that price point. Bear in mind it's a $2,400 bow, so I'm kind of wanting to get this bow at about half price, even though it's brand new. So, and I don't know what I'm selling this bow for, because I don't know what I paid for it, because I forget what I paid for it. I put it aside for doing a review, and I just got busy. So this here is a cable stop. It's a hybrid cam system, so it means the top cam is different to the bottom cam. The top cam has a yoke. Yokes are useful for tuning the bow, so you can put more or less lean on the top cam through twisting up the cables. That's a good system in my opinion. And the bottom cam is like a sort of single cam bow down the bottom with a cable stop just there. So with that, what we're going to do is we're going to shoot this through the chronograph, see how it shoots at 18, and compare the draw cycle to the latest Invicta DCX. Okay, so hopefully we can get some speed out of this, some speed tests out of this, because the sun's starting to drop. So the first one we're going to shoot is the Invicta with the DCX cam. So now we're going to shoot the normal arrows I shoot. These are 327 gains, they're gold tip velocities. So what I'm interested in here is the vibration, the speed, the draw cycle, which bow's easier to draw, which one's faster. So this one starts off soft. It's building, 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 building. Don't even feel the draw stop, just there. So it's going to take the shot. .277 feet per second. Now, don't even feel the valley on this bow. I'm going to say it feels pretty much consistent all the way through. The speed is not impressive. It's quite slow because the start of it is quite easy. So with the faster bows, like I just shot the Citation 36, it's hard all the way through. But there's more significant drop off at the end on the Citation, and far, like 312, I think I got 312 feet per second. For the same poundage, so substantially different speeds. And I'm going to say the draw cycle, although this is easier to start with, I'm going to say the Citation may be easier when you're back here because it's got more valley. Definitely a bigger valley, even though the Citation's a small valley. So vibration on this compared to the Citation, very similar the way it sort of goes off. This is clearly not as fast as Citation. You can sort of feel it. There's no inherent bounce forward. It's quite a nice bow to shoot, but it doesn't have that speed. The Citation's the last review I did, and that just felt like a firecracker going off. This just feels like a normal bow, comfortable. Now let's try the Prevail. Now the Prevail, you can see it's top heavy. Not as heavy as like the Citation from PSC. The grip's quite narrow, same as the Invicta, it's the same grip. Very nice finished bow. Now let's try out the draw cycle with this. This is the faster cam. I don't know what they published the speeds at. But this should be harder draw cycle. It should be harder. I look with the citation, my release height here and it hits with this too. So this may even be a smaller brace height than the Invicta. Oh. I was just checking if it's over 60 pounds because this is a second-hand bow, and the person who I purchased it from is quite a bit bigger than me. The first little bit of it feels heavy, so I just checked and it's a 60-pound bow, but this shouldn't be a problem to draw, right? So significantly different to the DCX cam at the start. I will get this back, but it's extremely hard. Now, it could be, he's a bigger man than me, the guy who I brought this from. It could be his draw length is longer than mine. This is a 28 to 29 inch draw length. My draw length is either 28.5 or 29, so this should be smack on for me, and this is so much harder to draw. I drew back a bow the other day which was 65 and it was relatively easy. I've drawn back a few bows now, even 70s, and they're relatively easy. This feels hard. So it's harder the first inch and then it's getting harder. Now it could be I'm old and I need to work out more, but the 60 pounds, people say, well, how do the 60 pounds feel different? It's all a matter of where the bow's peaking. It's starting to peak back here and I'm already over the spot where my strength is. My strength is at the start here. Back here I don't have the strength, and that's where this bow is peaking, and that's why I'm having a few troubles drawing this. So like I will draw it. I just want to explain the whole draw cycle. This is hard to draw. And now the next question is, what's the valley like? And I'm going to guess the valley is going to be short, and I'm going to guess this is quite quick. I'm interested in how much quicker than 277 feet per second it is. .303. Interesting. So actually when I get back in the valley, it's actually not too bad. It feels more comfortable than the DCX. It feels like a bigger let off when I get back in the valley. So when I'm actually back in the valley, this feels quite comfortable, and I probably prefer this than the DCX cam system, which is probably not what I'd expect. The shot itself was clean, and you can tell it was significantly faster than the Invicta with the DCX cam. It was sharp, there was no vibration left to right. I felt very little shock forward. It felt very much like the PSE Citation 36 that I shot the other day, but 10 feet per second slower. Let me just have another shot. Now this time we're going to shoot. This is a Victory 3D HV. Now these things are fast, so we're talking about 20 feet per second faster. So we might even push 320 with this. But overall, I think if you're going to buy this bow and you're going to shoot a lot, you're going to become comfortable with it, and you're going to shoot well with this bow, but you're going to want to shoot it a lot. And if you're starting off, you probably want to wind this bow back in poundage to get used to that whole draw cycle. Now this bow only has 10 pounds of adjustment, so from 50 to 60, or if you buy 50 to 40. Now I'm going to also mention, if you're trying out drawing back a bow, always have an arrow in the bow. Do it with a release aid, because today we had a customer come in and his string snapped. He's like, oh, the string snapped as I drew back the bow. I was like, that's weird. Anyway, I saw the spot where the string broke, and it broke exactly where the cable guard is. So that string came through and hit the cable guard. The speed knocks came off and hit him in the chest and left marks, which was a clear sign of a dry fire. So always draw. It doesn't matter if you're in your house and I just want to try the poundage, see how it feels. Do it with an arrow. Do it up close to a target, so if something goes wrong, you're not going to blow up your bow, you're not going to hurt yourself. this arrow is going to be safe, everything's safe. So I know when you buy your bow, you go, look, I want to shoot this thing, I want to get out there and do it, but do it safe. Like I'm here at 1 meter away, it should be okay, right? God, it's peaking right there. But back here, it feels comfortable. Now that got 100 feet per second, that's because the light's dropping. But God, do you know, I prefer the draw cycle of this. And I'm going to say in the vibration, the limbs are not parallel with this bow. And I've shot the Prevails before and I felt a fair bit of vibration with them, and I get criticized for saying that. This feels pretty good. I don't feel much vibration, quite a bit of noise. Quite a bit of noise. And I don't know if it's because of, well, this should be taking the noise off it, but it sounds to me quite noisy as far as that bang, you know, like going off. But I don't feel any vibration with it. When I'm back there at full draw, it feels rock solid against the wall. It feels nice to me, and this is a quality bit of machinery. So when I'm thinking about buying something like this secondhand, it reminds me of buying cars secondhand as I roll my eyes. So when you buy a secondhand, you don't want to lose much money if you go to sell it on, because basically you want to try something out. So I'm thinking if this is about $2,400, if you're getting it at the half price point, you go to sell it again, you're not going to lose that much because it's going to hold its value around there. Now an old Hoyt target bow that used to be about $2,500 like 10 years ago is probably going to be around the mark, 500 mark. So like if you buy this, which is 2 years old, you know, in 5 years it may drop in value to 600 bucks, but at 600 bucks it's a steal. So I'm just going to say that, you know, if you can get it somewhere between 1,000 and probably 1,400, you're going to be pretty happy with this bow. Just try and make sure the draw cycle fits you, the draw length, because buying cams is really expensive. You're probably up for $400, $500 in Australia for the cams. I don't know how much they are in America, but these cams are really, really expensive. And if you want to change the poundage on the bow, these limbs are really, 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 really expensive. So you're not going to want to do that. You're not going to want to change cams. You don't want to change limbs. Like ballpark on the limbs are $500-600. The cams 500. That's me pulling numbers out the air, but it's pretty close. I have replaced them before on people's bows, and I'm not sure if that's shops in Australia making a margin, and it's definitely not my shop making a margin. I wish it was. It's just what the price is. I don't know if they're that expensive in America. I mean, there is work in these limbs to laminate them, but the new Invicta limb is exactly the same price. So my point is, if you're buying one of these bows secondhand, make sure the draw length is your draw length, and make sure the poundage is the poundage you want, because you don't want to be changing these things. Now you may be able to find limbs and cams secondhand, because people who have obviously changed them, they might be on websites like eBay, or like on archery forums websites. So you just Google looking for Hoyt SVX cams in a 28 inches. There's probably some around. You probably pick them up for less than half price, because people just want to get rid of them because they have really no significant value secondhand cams. So with that, let's take this bow and shoot at 18 meters and see how well I shoot. Okay, so I'm at 18 meters, and I shot this last night. I just didn't turn the cameras on, so I'm back here to do it again. Now my shooting last night was poor at best. My arrows were scattered all over the target, and hopefully I've got some photos to show you how bad my grouping was. Now, I said the reason for my bad grouping was I struggled to pull this bow back, so the poundage was too high, and the draw length I considered too long. So if the bow's not set up for you, don't expect good results. Now, although I'm saying that, I think the bow shot well. I think it shot quite crisp, and it had a solid draw stop. Now, I'm also going to say with this Prevail, it also came with different stops here, so bigger, and what that does, it gives you less let off, but I need as much let off as I can get. So I'm going to continue shooting this, but if you want less let off, they basically come with bigger stops here, so fatter, so it gives you less valley, so it doesn't go into the valley as much. So we're going to try shooting these arrows again and see if I get a better result. But it wasn't very good last night, so let's see how it goes today. I feel like it went in the dead center. I'm like, this bow feels very much like the PSC Citation 36 I shot the other day in my last bow review, which I didn't think I was going to shoot very well with, and I shot my best group ever. So, and now I look at that arrow and I think it's low. Now, the last video I did where I shot this, the arrows were sort of high, spread across left to right, which is quite surprising because this grip is quite narrow. So I wouldn't expect to get any left to right torque at all. I've got no reasons not to shoot this bow well. I'm actually drawing the bow back a lot easier than it was yesterday. It's probably just I'm more familiar with it. I mean, it's not like I shot many shots with the Citation before I did the review. Literally, I do all my reviews the same. I just side the bow in, shoot the arrows, and then sort of see how it goes. But I didn't even get close to gripping 2 arrows yesterday in the review. Like, there was no knock damage. There was no 2 arrows close in the target. It was not great. I mean, I saw a post on Facebook, one of my friends said, it's the archer, not the bow or the prize money. Something changed my mind and I made a post. And my post was saying, look, the archers are all very similar, but there is a difference in the bows. If you had 19, his example was Levi Morgan could win with any bow made. And I was like, a 1980 bow, good luck with that. But I'm going to go further than that. There's some bows made right now where it wouldn't even be a competition with a midline archer, someone below myself versus Levi Morgan, with some current compounds made in today's market. Wouldn't even be a contest. Some bows I'm thinking of, and these reviews I do, you know, I basically shoot the bows at 18 meters to show you the difference in the grouping I get, and the difference is quite significant. It's, you know, some reviews I shoot really tight groups and some I shoot average groups and some I shoot terrible. So a lot of that will be to do with the way the bow's set up. But I try and have all the bows the same, 60 pounds, 29 inches. And what intrigues me with this, shooting this bow, sometimes I get this sort of motion when I shoot. It's like a torquing the bow. I get none of that with this bow at all. It's generally like I'm moving all over the place, and I'm struggling to see the arrows down the other end, but I'm going to guess they're all over the bloody place, like all over the place. My sight pin is not going in the red, and I feel like there's arrows in the red. My sight pin is basically hovering around the 10, and it is moving, but it's hovering around the 10. And I'm shooting much wilder arrows than I'm seeing down there. And it's not like it's a bad bow to shoot. It feels quite good to shoot. It's like sometimes I say my muscles are sore from the work I've been doing. I haven't been doing any work, my muscles are feeling good. I am feeling when I get the shot off, I'm getting a bit of this sort of stuff, a bit of kick out. But that's not explaining to me, like I would shoot better with a recurve than I'm shooting with this, in my opinion. And there's going to be Hoyt shooters who shoot really well with this bow, and I'm sure I could shoot really well with it. I'm just comparing like this bow compared to other bows in all the reviews. Like I like the grip. The draw cycle is harder than most bows, but it's and some people would say, well, you try harder when you shoot a PSE. Well, go and look at some of my videos on like the first citation I shouldn't shoot very well with, but I shot extremely well with citation 36. And probably on like a shoot down, I know I shot terrible with. So I just try my best. But some of these bows will perform differently once you put your target set up on. And if you're going to shoot a bow, like let's say you brought this bow and you've got a target set on, shoot scores, see how well you shoot, and plot it over time. If it's not as good as the bow you were shooting before, well then you sell it off and get another bow, or you try changing the setup, reduce the poundage, change the draw length. Know what scores you shoot and adjust your bow to try and shoot those scores. I'm all about, improvement. This is what I like about the bow, but it's about shooting scores, and I say this all the time. Shoot your scores and see what it is and see if you shoot better. Alright, let's go down and see how the grip is. Well, that was a bit of a mixed bag. In fact, there's a whole bunch of arrows in the middle, 1, 2, 3. They're actually pretty good. And none of those shots felt different. So sometimes when I shoot a shot, I go, oh, that shot low because I am low, or my arm moved. I can feel where the shot was going. With these arrows, I had absolutely no idea. Basically every shot was in the middle when I released. Like I said, the bow feels heavy, the draw length feels too long for me, and it's set at 29, and it was all basically a little bit hard. That's what I'm going to say. Like the customer whose bow this was, he's buying an NXT35, so much easier to shoot. Like it's not even comparable. The draw cycle's easier. When you shoot the bow, it's just going to sit there. I'm going to say I'd bet my house, but I would bet $50 he would shoot better scores with the NXT35 than this bow, the Prevail. The bow itself, $2,400 versus $1,400. The NXT being $1,400. Bet he's going to shoot better scores with it. He's a target archer at a local archery club. So I'm going to be very interested, because for me, while I'm happy with those arrows, this was just too hard to shoot. Might be a bit different when I shoot target stabilizers, and if I shot all the time, different story, right? Because it'd be easy on the draw cycle. It may even be a different story if I shot this bow at 28.5. So if I felt more sort of compact in the shot. The bow itself feels fine to shoot. The draw stop is solid. It's a solid bow to shoot. People win world championships with Hoyt Prevails. So don't go, well, Stephen's done a review, it's rubbish. It's harder to shoot. Doesn't mean it's not as good. It's a harder bow, more efficient. It's like driving a race car versus an average road car. An average road car is easy to drive. Saying all that, I shot extremely well with the Citation 36, which I'm really keen to try out and see how I go with it. Which I haven't done yet, but I intend to do very, very shortly. That might have been 8 RC arrows that I just shot where they all just poof, hit the spot. And that's what I've got to see, because it was incredible shooting. Overall, the Hoyt Prevail, bulletproof bow, I don't think it's much, I don't think the Invicta is much of an improvement. And if I had a Prevail, I don't think I'd be upgrading to an Invicta, because I just can't see why. And if I had the new bow for 2021 is a non-cutout riser, so it's not even as good as the Invicta. So I'm like, well, if we've got a Prevail, I don't see any reason why you want to change it. That's probably not what Hoyt's salespeople are going to want to hear. But it's a solid bow. It's well made. Very, very rare to ever have a warranty claim with a Hoyt. So if you're in the market for one, check the strings to make sure they're fine. Just check the price point to make sure you're happy with it, and bear in mind that it is a harder bow to shoot. I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Thanks for watching. Bye.